The first snowfall of December should have brought peace, but for me it came with humiliation. My arms were aching from hours spent on that rickety ladder, and my fingers were numb from the bitter cold as I had just finished hanging the final string of lights on my modest home. I took a step back, proud of what I had accomplished. The plastic wreath my parents had given me, a few glowing snowflakes along the windows, and a small nativity scene in the yard. Simple, warm, and honest. But then came her voice. The night's stillness was cut through by that nasally sharp voice. "Oh, for heaven's sake, is that it? Is that your extravagant Christmas display?" I froze. My chest tightened. Karen, my neighbor, nemesis, and self-described street queen, smirked as she sat on her porch sipping cocoa, as if she had just witnessed the year's most hilarious tragedy. "Pathetic," she added, her laughter carrying across the night like nails on glass. "Is that all you could afford? A few melancholy little lights?" I wanted to respond, to defend myself, to say it wasn't about money, it was about tradition, about effort. But the words caught in my throat. Instead, I just stood there in the cold, my pride burning hotter than any winter wind. Behind her, her house shone like the cover of a glossy magazine. Inflatable reindeer grazed on the perfect lawn. The roofline was covered evenly by a dozen icicle lights. A 12-foot Santa waved from the yard. And the worst part, her smile's self-indulgent contentment. I didn't sleep that night. Her voice replayed in my head like a cruel loop. "At least you tried. At least you tried." And before I tell you how this little incident turned into the most outrageous Christmas showdown my street has ever seen, please do me a favor and click the like button right now so that more people can hear about this story. Also, please leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Because what transpired next was about pride, vengeance, and demonstrating that the underdog can sometimes outshine the entire neighborhood, not just decorations. Karen had always made fun of other people. It wasn't just me. Anyone who didn't meet her impossible standards became a target. She would whisper about it at gatherings if a lawn wasn't cut perfectly. She would spot flaws in the food, music, and atmosphere of any party she attended. She needed to be the center of attention, always. But making fun of my holiday decorations? That was distinctive. That was private. This was not about being proud of my house. Rather, it was about remembering my parents, who had given me that little wreath and nativity scene. Those didn't seem cheap to me. They were custom. They were romantic. And Karen had spat on it. The next day I left for work, and sure enough, Karen was outside again. This time she called across the street. "Perhaps you could borrow some of my additional lights. Lord knows it's needed in your house." I forced a tight smile, but inside I made a promise. I wasn't going to let her laughter echo in my head forever. I wasn't going to let her stand there like some self-appointed queen, lording over everyone with her smugness. I sat with my laptop that night, my determination burning in my chest. If she wanted competition, I would give her one. Not with leftovers. Not with old bulbs strung on strings that flicker. With something bigger. A lasting impression. I scrolled through websites until my eyes blurred. There were hundreds of holiday decorators, but they all had the same appearance. Gaudy, unoriginal, and rushed. Then, just when I was about to give up, I found Northern Glow Designs. Their portfolio was breathtaking. Houses turned into living canvases of light. Rooflines that shimmered with fluid motion. Yards transformed into snowy wonderlands that made people stop in their tracks. The goal of their work was not to string lights. Rather, it was to create art. When I called, the voice on the other end asked me a simple question. "What is your goal?" I did not dither. I want to outshine someone who thinks no one can beat her. I want more than just lights. I want people to feel something when they see my house. There was a pause, then a chuckle. "You came to the right place." Karen continued to make fun of me on a daily basis as I waited for the team. "Oh, don't hurt yourself with all those ladders this year. Your lights look like they came from a bargain bin." Every word fueled me. I let her believe that she had broken me by remaining silent. Little did she know, her arrogance was the match that lit the fire under me. On a crisp Tuesday morning, the first van pulled up. Karen was walking her dog outside. As two men loaded ladders and equipment crates, she abruptly stopped. Her voice dripped with sarcasm. "Oh, do you need help right now? Cute. But you won't be able to match mine, so don't waste your money." I did not respond. I didn't need to, because additional vans arrived within the hour, a crew of 6 in total. Additionally, they were not here to assist, but rather to construct a masterpiece. My house became a construction zone of pure magic for 3 days. Workers lined the roof with intricate designs as ladders scraped the sky. Branches on my trees were wrapped in spirals of light, each glowing like veins of fire. My walkway became a shimmering tunnel of arches. Even the windows glowed with cascading patterns, timed to music. The Jubilee Jewel. My front yard had a 20-foot-tall Christmas tree that was alive with thousands of bulbs that sparkled like fallen stars. Neighbors slowed their cars, their jaws dropping. Kids pressed their faces against frosted windows, whispering rumors about what was being built. Karen Naza? I caught her staring every night through her blinds. Her face pale, her decoration suddenly looking small, dim, almost laughable. Word spread quickly. By the time the big night came, the entire street was buzzing with anticipation. Children clutching hot cocoa and families huddled together in scarves and coats, their breath fogging the cold air. My heart was racing as I stood by the switch. As if she weren't paying attention, Karen lingered nearby with her arms folded. However, her eyes were a lie. She was waiting. After taking a deep breath and turning the switch, the world shone with light. My home's cascading waves of color were synchronized with the booming music. Snow machines released glittering flurries into the air. My walkway was illuminated by rhythmic arches that pointed toward the enormous glowing tree that stood like a beacon of happiness. The crowd gasped. Phones emerged. Kids screamed with delight. Neighbors who rarely spoke to each other stood shoulder to shoulder, united in awe. Karen Naza? She froze. Her cocoa slipped from her hand, shattering on the ground as her house, once the pride of the street, was drowned in the glow of mine. Her yard was not moved by the crowd. They went to my house. They took pictures under my arches, laughed, danced, and sang carols. In addition to being decorated, my house had become the street's focal point. Karen retreated into her house, her lights flickering weakly behind her windows. She was not the main attraction for once. She didn't stand out. She was just another house in the shadow of something greater. And I didn't have to say anything at all. That night, as I stood beneath the towering tree, I realized something. This wasn't about beating Karen. It was about rising above her cruelty. Reclaiming my dignity and demonstrating that effort and heart can triumph over arrogance and ridicule were the goals. She wanted me small. She wanted to make me feel bad. But I lit up the night instead. And the happiness on the faces of my neighbors told me I had done more than just win a small competition. I had reminded people what the season was really about. Nevertheless, observing her retreat into the night, that was the most tender present of all. So here's the truth. When someone makes fun of your effort, you have two options. You can let their comments make you smaller, or you can rise up and shine brighter than they could have ever imagined. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like this story. There will be more unbelievable stories like this coming, and I promise you won't want to miss what happens next.